Hello, my spooky darlings, and welcome to Streams and Screams, the online show thing in which I watch a horror movie that is currently streaming online and I tell you about it. So today we are going to talk about Satanic Hispanics, which is streaming on Shudder currently, probably coming soon to Shudder. I got a screener for it, so I know it's coming, but I don't 100% know when. So Satanic Hispanics is an anthology film, which means that it is a narrative structure that involves multiple short films incorporated into one larger kind of structured narrative that allows for a lot of flexibility, a lot of creativity, and 5 different directors to work on one film, which is always really fun. I personally love anthology horror. I think it's a great way to allow a lot of flexibility in the storytelling. If you are a fan of anthology horror, ones that I would recommend: VHS, that whole franchise, golden. Southbound, fantastic. Creepshow, absolute classic. The Mortuary Collection, super fun. The Japanese classic Kwaidan. And I'm also going to give a shout out to 3 Extremes, which is a fantastic, more extreme horror version of an anthology film. It has some phenomenal stories in it. Very brutal, very fun, if you are into that sort of thing, which I am. The 5 directors involved in Satanic Hispanics are Alejandro, who is known for One of the Dead, as well as Nightmare Cinema, Mike Mendez, who did the film Big Ass Spider, as well as a segment in Tales of Halloween, which is another great anthology film. The wonderful Gigi Saul Guerrero, who had a segment in VHS 85. She also directed a little film called Bingo Hell, which is absolutely charming, as well as a episode of Into the Dark called Culture Shock, which is quite possibly my favorite episode. Another director involved, Eduardo Sánchez, of course, from the Blair Witch Project, as well as VHS 2, and the gloriously talented Demián Rugna, who made When Evil Lurks, which you can also watch a Streams and Screams episode about on this channel somewhere, as well as Terrified, which is also on Shudder. So is When Evil Lurks. You can watch them both there too. The segment by Demián Rugna, I feel, is very self-evident. He has a fantastic style with his ghosties. His ghosts are always weirdly raw and physical while being thoroughly supernatural and creepy and unnerving. They also just feel very concrete and based in reality, which makes them that much more terrifying. He has a very visceral sense of supernatural, and I really, really enjoy that about his work. There's another segment called El Vampiro that follows a vampire on a night out on Halloween and what happens when he stays a little bit late past his curfew. I really enjoyed that segment. It was really kind of a cheeky, fun look at the vampire folklore and a nice way to humanize it. It also gave me really strong What We Do in the Shadows vibes, which is one of my personal favorites, so I'm always happy to see that. Another one that I really enjoyed has a wonderful kind of Quentin Tarantino, Sam Raimi Evil Dead influence in it. Has a wonderful sense of humor that is very, very in line with my stupid sense of humor. So I was really tickled pink by that whole segment. I thought it was very enjoyable, very funny, very goofy, very practical in its effects. There's one monologue in particular that goes on a little bit of a different direction than you expected it to in a really entertaining way. And I really enjoyed that sense of humor as part of this collection of shorts, which really has a varied group of tones and styles. So you really get a little bit of everything. There's some very serious elements that bring in some wonderful folklore, some very earthy supernatural tones to them, and also some kind of silly elements, as well as, of course, some very surreal, real ghosties that just feel physically threatening. The overarching story is also a really kind of cool way to bring all of these tales into the fold. It follows a couple of detectives as they interview the lone survivor of what appears to be a cult, as he kind of details why he's the lone survivor, why he's still there, and how all these stories come together in the end, which culminates in a very epic story with fantastic creature design that really seals the whole deal together and makes it feel complete. Like I mentioned, I love anthology horror. I think it's a very creative way to incorporate multiple directors, multiple storylines, multiple styles, multiple tones, as well as just allowing the directors to really explore their ideas without needing to stretch this concept into a 90+ minute story. They can condense it, really get into the punchy elements of it, and not have to worry about how can I continue this on for several more scenes. It just allows you to get in, punch, get out, and you're done. Satanic Hispanics is not only a really charming anthology, it's also a fantastic opportunity to highlight these excellent bits of storytelling from these Latino directors. We don't often get anthologies that are really focused on one cultural perspective and able to explore the folklore, the themes, the style, the monsters, the practical effects, and the panache that really comes with that particular group of creatives. It's always exciting to see different stories told from different perspectives, and I think that's something that is being embraced more and more in the horror sphere. If you're looking for a double feature to explore more horror anthology from a different cultural perspective, I would recommend Kwaidan from 1964. Very different tonally, but it's phenomenally cool. It's a brilliant, beautiful film, just a feast for the eyes, and it's something that is unlike anything you've ever seen before and probably will also ever see elsewhere. So if you're interested in watching Satanic Hispanics, you can check it out when it lands on Shudder, or you can watch the trailer right now.
Everybody down! El Paso police!
Hey, why don't you fill me in?
27 dead bodies, all shot in the head. And only one survivor.
I bet he's got one hell of a story to tell.
There are portals back and forth from one realm to the other. Problem is sometimes the portals don't close once they're open. If I don't leave here within the next 90 minutes, we are all going to be dead.
Siento el palpitar de tu sangre en mis ojos.
Detectives, you have no idea what is coming.